Oh, dear God. The X-ray profile has risen in the past couple days. Smasho here, welcoming you to the Smash News Network and indeed to the daily space weather as we bring to you the most detailed imagery you'll find of the closest star. Today we've got no less than 16 custom videos for you as we see the solar X-ray profile rise. The likelihood of major flares like X-class flares gets very high as this group sets. We see some umbral migration happening as well. Don't worry, tons of imagery to bring you today. As always on the channel, that is the last 24 from SDO. Looking at yesterday plus today, we do have one new named group. This group right here. We'll talk more about that a little bit later. We've got some major umbral growth here as this sunspot here, that's 3140, I believe. Check it out, major growth happening there, and we'll show you some fantastic close-ups of that in a moment. First volcano rundown includes Shivaluch producing a 17,000-foot ash plume as it explodes on the Kamchatka Peninsula. Mount Manam, 7,000-foot ash plume. Krakatoa, flight level 020, it's a 2,000-foot ash plume. Semeru exploding, flight level 130. Headed to central Mexico, Popocatépetl exploding, flight level 210, it's a 21,000-foot ash plume. Now to Central America, Fuego in Guatemala exploding, flight level 170. Flight level 200 over Ecuador from Sangay. Sabancaya also exploding in Peru. 24,000-foot plume of volcanic ash. Please don't pole vault the caldera. It could be unhealthful. Next, the past 90 days of seismic activity and the past week of seismic activity has been very active, with no less than 3 7+ magnitude quakes. We did see a 6.1 south of the Fiji Islands region there, at sort of the western frontier of earthquakes in that region, historically speaking. A 6.1 at over 620 kilometers estimated depth. Also, there was a 6+ magnitude here south of Japan, felt in the city of Osaka, most likely. And drop us a line if you felt that quake. If you did, congratulations on realizing the channel exists. And let's do the full rundown for the past day. Looks like a small swarm in the Caribbean. At least one quake showing up there on the list in Hawaii. And if we miss anything on the list, just drop us a line in the comments and let us know. We do appreciate all of your input, and we do read all comments, even if we are unable to respond to all comments. Thanks to everybody who's left comments on our videos, low the past, pushing 6 years. Reykjanes Ridge kicking back up there with a 5.1 on the Mid-Atlantic Ridge there, southeast of Greenland. There was also a 5.0 at Finschhafen, Papua New Guinea. And let's move back to the realm of space. So there's the closest star in ionized helium. Again, we've seen the X-ray profile rise here. We're going to talk about anisotropy in a moment. Yes, the anisotropy of X-ray emissions. Why is the sun brighter around the rim, folks? Any ideas? Let us know in the comments what you think. Why is it that large solar flares are more likely at the limbs than in the center of the Earth-facing solar disk? The 10.7 centimeter radial flux, by the way, is at 137 solar flux units, having been stagnating here. It's actually dropped down the past 2 days, 1 point each day. There's the 1-year graph to put it in context. Solar flux units are at 10,000 joules of radial flux density. Radial flux at 137. No space weather storms forecasted in the coming 3 days by NOAA. We'll let you know later in the video if we agree on that one. So here are the last 4 hours of Earth's magnetic moment from space. As we have seen a sputtering high-speed coronal hole wind stream. We've got some additional coronal holes rotating in, especially in the southeastern limb. We'll get to that in a moment. First Earth's magnetic moment from the ground for the past 4 hours. That's our ground magnetic perturbations map. Earth's magnetic moment from the ground, scaled in nanotesla. The last 4 hours. Things are geomagnetically calm. KP index is at 1.6. 1.67 if you want to be more precise. But a less than 2 KP index is a geomagnetically calm condition. And looking at the real-time solar wind, it did get as high as 524. Now subsiding a bit here. Current conditions are 435 kilometers per second, 435 kilometers per second. 4.5 protons per cubic centimeter is the density. And we just saw the magnetic fields shift a bit here, shifting back into positive territory. BT of 7, BZ of positive 2. Next, looking at magnetic data, there are your GOES magnetometers. And it looks like the GOES 16 had to make a maneuver there. Those arc jet moments caused by its thrusters and the plasma they create. Fairly smooth readings there on the GOES. Next, looking at the heliospheric current sheet. And indeed, it is South Pole oriented on the entire Earth side of the portion. On the entire Earth side of the solar disk there, stereo A, B, and the Earth, all in a South Pole current sheet depicted here in red. And let's move on to the line of sight field plot. There's the solar B field showing in blue. South solar polar field in red, north solar polar field in green. Next is coronal holes. So we've got a very well-defined South Pole-oriented coronal hole here rotating into the southeast. And let's take a look at that from SDO. There's the last 24 hours in 211 angstroms. This coronal hole up here is North Pole oriented. So there's a North Pole coronal hole there. And let's continue on to sunspots. So this sunspot here indeed did get a name, as we suggested yesterday. This one here, not so much. 3146 is quite a complex sunspot group, but the main story is going to be sunspot DAG. I'm not sure which one that is. Is that 31? I think it's 3140. This one up here, the one that's in the northeast, this one here, the one in the most northeastern position, has grown quite a bit since yesterday. So let's take a look at that. Once again, likelihood of major solar flares going up drastically. The likelihood of an X flare is like 50%, in my opinion. Let's take a closer look here. You'll see some significant growth happening in the past 24 hours there. And we're going to get even closer than that, so don't worry. Spectacular imagery coming at you from the Smash News Network. Least busted name in news. Also a triple umbra down here. Not every day you see that. A single umbra with two large light bridges stretching across it, making it a triple umbra. There is the 94 angstroms wavelength added in. And we're going to get to energetic particles and so on here momentarily. And by the way, welcome to the Neo Renaissance. Please help out the channel by clicking our links visit the homepage at smashomash.com. Yes, smashomash.com. We are writing a paper that plausibly explains the mechanism underlying the solar sunspot and solar polar field reversal cycles. You can find all kinds of interesting links there on the homepage, smashomash.com. When we became fully fed up with the pathetic censorship on the internet, we decided to create our own website. Press like, press subscribe, press share if you enjoy the content on YouTube. And thanks everybody for enduring the pathetic, disgusting, and putrid censorship of big tech over the past 5-6 years. Make sure you check our playlists. If you've never seen smashomash.org Presents the Sun, I suggest checking out Part 3. It is the default video on our YouTube page. It features Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata. Perhaps you'll enjoy that. You can find the links below the video to our Redbubble shop also. It is in order of best selling. Today's featured product is a great gift idea for all of your friends who incessantly use Google as a verb. Google defined. Yes, Google defined. Because if you're going to use it as a verb, you might as well get the definition correct. Google defined is verb. To use the Google Junkware search engine to obtain biased search results about someone or something on the World Wide Web. So Google, if you're going to use it correctly, make sure it's defined as biased information obtained by using the Google Junkware search engine. As big tech tries to break the internet, it just breaks itself since it's unable to break the internet, but it is able to destroy itself, mislead investors, and shatter its own stock prices. Google, Apple, Facebook, Twitter, fix your junkware. Stop peddling 20-plus-year-old outdated software. Because the internet can destroy you, but you can't destroy it. It's a great gift idea. The Google defined products. You can also find our Hemp Lucid link below the video, as well as on the homepage. Enter the promo code SMASHOMASH10 for a special deal on checkout. SmashoMash10, hemplucid.com, our latest affiliate/sponsor. We've got some more products to review here coming soon. More on that at a later time. Make sure you follow us on Twitter if you haven't. If you don't have a Twitter account, well, create one. Create 2, create 5. Buy blue check marks for all of them if you like. We'll probably never buy a blue check mark, not because we can't afford it, because of principle. Because it's not fixed, neither is free speech, neither is censorship. If you think Elon's fixed it, well, think again. By the way, we'll be showing you the global total electron content map here in a moment. Twitter.com/SmashAmash. You can find our links there. Again, help us out with our links. And if you want to become a member of the Smash Team, it's at smashomash.com/Smash Team. There is the awesome site built by Smash staff. Give her a raise by becoming a gold or perhaps a silver member. We replace Patreon with something superior, although we still do have Patreon, also PayPal. You'll find us all over the internet as we provide the most comprehensive space weather and most detailed imagery of the sun you will find anywhere. Here at the Smash News Network, least busted name in news. Another link you'll find on the homepage as well as below the video is the link to SureMed. The membership is only $20 a month. There is an initial $20 enrollment fee, and it is certainly worth it just for the doctors by phone, but you also get all these other features like counselors by phone, virtual veterinarians, dental discounts, vision discounts, discounts on durable medical equipment, MRI and CT scans, labs, vitamins, save at the pharmacy counter. Bring your prescription card and your SureMed card to save an additional up to 85% on your prescriptions, and use my link to enroll. The American Better Health Organization's purpose is to truly improve your health. It's improved mine. I'm a member. I endorse this product. Next, get into energetic particles. We ain't got none. Next, get into X-ray flux. We've got an increase, as you would expect with a giant and quite newly activated sunspot group. It's gone back into action, folks. So we see umbral changes happening. We see the X-ray flux rising big time. So again, don't be surprised to see an X-class or even multiple X-class flares as this massive sunspot group, multiple massive sunspot groups, approach the solar limb. A little bit more about that. We did post a paper here, the anisotropy of polarized X-ray emissions from molecules. Why? Because the X-ray emissions from a material are often based on the viewing angle. They are angular in nature. In other words, X-rays don't like to come out perpendicular with respect to a surface of a crystalline structure. So, in any case, just put it out there. This one is called the anisotropy of polarized X-ray emission from molecules. You'll be able to find that easily from the university libraries, University of Nevada, Las Vegas. And let's take a look at 131 angstroms. So again, a big increase here in the X-ray flux. It's all because of this series of sunspot regions, like sunspot 3142, for example, which is this one down here. I think this one's 3140. Ultimately, folks, the names don't really matter. How about an even closer close-up? How about them apples? And let's continue on for the full disk 94 angstroms wavelength. Again, the likelihood of an X-class flare is above 50%, in my opinion, more likely than not. Next, we've got a star chart here, and if you're up before dawn, you might see Betelgeuse and Mars not too far apart in the sky there. The two bright red objects, Mars near the ecliptic, Betelgeuse a bit to the south of it, as Mars is right near the galactic plane at the moment. Interestingly, about Betelgeuse, it is the largest single object visible to the naked eye. If it were in our solar system, centered where the sun is, you would be inside of it. It's about the size of Mars's orbit. It is also a very naughty star, which produces lots of emissions. Red supergiants are very active. They have a lot of stellar spots. Anyway, here's our solar system forecast. Let's advance this 1 week. We will have a crescent waning moon on the 21st November as we approach Thanksgiving. Let us know what your plans are. Are you having a turkey or a ham? Next, some coronagraphs. So there is yesterday, and we did see some CME activity. Fairly minor. Does not appear to be earthly directed. So that's 98 frames from yesterday. And here are some frames from today. A little bit more earthish, but also not apparently containing any earthly components. It looks like it's all off to the west. And we'll show you more evidence of that here in a moment when we look at Stereo A's coronagraph and the Soho Lasco C3. So we've paused this here this morning at 5:54 Universal Time. And you can see some ejecta here coming out. Now keep in mind, Earth would be off in this direction. From the perspective of Stereo A, for all you new viewers out there, Earth would be off in this direction. It would be behind you. From the perspective of Soho Lasco C3, and when we play these through, we can tell that CME is off to the west. We don't see any halo-type eruption, which is what you typically see when you do have an Earth-directed CME. So, a little bit closer, but no dice. And by the way, the likelihood of additional CMEs in the earthly vicinity is also nearly 100%. We'll show you the number of filaments in a little bit here in a moment. And guess what? There are dozens and dozens of huge filaments in between Earth and Sun. So here is the last 24 from Soho Lasco C2, C3, and SGO 304 angstroms. You can see Mercury there on the left side of your screen. Thanks for leaving a comment, Mike Bordages. Good morning to you too as well. Good morning to you as well, sir. There is Venus and Mercury as they're preparing to get back into their prograde motion. They're still retrograding, which is causing astrologists to think something or something, and as always, they'll just return to their prograde motion, and that's the last 24 hours. Let's continue on. So here is the filament scenario. And major filaments here, visible from Cerro Tololo, Spain's ground-based solar observatory. Look at all those dark features. Those dark features are massive filaments that are like a dozen Earths in length. You can see one near both polar regions, also a huge one down here. So major filaments here, major likelihood of major flares. Lots of activity here. So let's continue on. Here's the last 24 in the house favorite wavelength, 171 angstroms, which signals that it's time for bonus features. First, the GOES 16 SUVI. There's a wide field of view visible from the GOES 16. That's why part of the reason why we stream it on the regs. If you don't subscribe to the Twitch channel, you won't see our streams. Install the mobile app or visit the URL. Since you have the internet, I'll bet you're able to visit a URL. It's twitch.tv/smashomash. Continuing on to look at charging hazards, and it is clear sailing for satellites. No charging hazards at the moment. Here's the GOES electron flux over the past 3 days here. It's just in a kind of a low portion of the range. Nothing to write home about there. There is the NOAA forecast, forecasting a bit of an increase there. Here is the 1-year chart of the electron flux. The GOES 16 and 17 measure it at the F layer from their geosynchronous orbits using radiography. And here is the diagram of the atmospheric temperatures, electromagnetic radiation penetration, and molecular composition of the thermosphere. The F ionosphere is located about 300 kilometers of altitude, and here's the vibrational frequency up there. It's the bridge between Earth and space. Space, a frontier. This is what's happening in the lower portion of it. Here's the anomalogram. That was the raw vibrational frequency. This is anomaly in megahertz from a 30-day median. And thanks for leaving a comment, Sir Giddy 615. There's the latest image, 11:45 Universal Time, ionogram, 11:45 Universal Time, anomalygram. And let's continue on to our total electron content imagery. So first of all, we've got the North American total electron content. That's literally a count of the electrons from the inner portion of the outer Van Allen belt down to your GPS handset. From about 12,500 miles down to ground level. And there are the free electrons in terms of anomalygram from the 10-day average. We'll let that play through one more time, as that's probably the most relevant. Actually, low electron counts there over places like the Caribbean, northern South America. And let's continue on to just let you know that we do still have a total electron content map. It's just not animated, so you can always use the Australian Government Bureau of Meteorology. Shout out to our Twitter friend. We actually shared a tweet from a gentleman from Mexico who regularly puts this map up. So the Australian Government Bureau of Meteorology does have a total electron content map. It just doesn't animate. But that's what's going on a global scale. Continuing on to our latest intensitygram and latest colorized magnetogram, and that is a spectacularly active region. Check out those ombre. Yowzers. Are those ombre going to be a bad ombre? Let us know in the comments what you think. So multiple sunspot groups there. Too many to really expect me to memorize the names of. I don't really care. The likelihood of major flares is really high. This group here, still beta gamma class. It does have some capability to produce some flares as well. And how about one more series of images from SDO before we get into the realm? The realm of meteorology. What the heck? We don't have those wavelengths? Okay. Well, that's weird. Do we have 335? Composite imagery not working. Let's move on to meteorology. So first thing we're looking at are the jet streams of the eastern world. By the way, it got quite cold here in Pennsylvania. I winterized the car just in time because Johnny do it at the last minute had a bunch of water in the radiator system, so I had to change out the coolant last night. Don't let your car freeze solid. Having ice inside of your engine is less than optimal. Make sure you get antifreeze in there, as it could be unhealthful for your internal combustion engine device. So here is the surface wind scenario of the eastern world. Powerful low here south of Kamchatka. Here are the surface winds of the western world. How about the jet streams? Okay, there you go. Cold air being driven deep into the U.S., and there are some wintry weather forecasts for places like Oklahoma coming. These are the jet streams of the central world. And here are, look at the kink in the jet stream here around the African Rift Zone. Oh my God. And there are the surface winds of the central world. And we've got the sun rising here over the Atlantic. That's our visible satellite. And for all of you flat earth types out there, you think the earth is flat instead of croissant shaped? What are you, out of your mind? Everybody knows that the earth is croissant shaped, okay? Stop believing lies on the internet. The earth is croissant shaped. God. Get with the program. Dear God, what is wrong with you? You think the earth is flat? It's clearly shaped like a croissant. And here is our weather.gov map. We're going to scroll down so you can see the key. Some freeze warnings in places like Alabama and Georgia. A little bit early in the year for a freeze there. And some winter storm warnings for portions of Oklahoma. That's the pink on the map. Weather.gov. If your county's lit, click your county. And we've got some cold temperatures gripping most of the U.S. That's a 72-hour GFS temperature anomaly forecast in degrees Celsius. And let's continue on. This is our pressure and precipitation forecast, and there's a bunch of snow coming to a bunch of the country here, including Pennsylvania. There's also an ice storm going to kick up, starting in West Virginia and Maryland, and making its way across a large portion of Pennsylvania. So some ice coming. Some possible freezing rain there based on the GFS 72-hour precipitation and pressure forecast model. And if you're watching a YouTube channel that extrapolates this any farther than about 3 days, they're probably filling your head with a bunch of nonsense. These are not accurate beyond 5 days at all. And even 4 days are questionable. That's why we use 3-day forecasts, because we like to be accurate on the channel, not idiotic. So here's your snow depth map, and we're going to zoom in a little bit here in the lower 48, and then we're going to advance this 3 days based on the Euro model, and check it out. Quite a bit of snow expected to be around there by Thursday. That is the European model for snow depth from windy.com. They got a great mobile app as well. So install twitch.tv if you'd like to see our live streams, and install the windy.com mobile app. They're all free, and they'll give you additional information. There's our NASA GOES Lightning Mapper. No terrestrial strikes in the U.S. at the moment, although quite a few over the Mediterranean Sea there, seeing some thunderstorm activity. Maybe Zeus is behind it. Who knows? Oh my God. Gond told me to tell you that it's not Zeus. Dear Gond. Bunch of snowfall in there. So there's the full 50 states of ALSA, the allegedly United States of America. And we'll focus on the lower 48 view. Here is your clouds and fog map. It's 3.9 nanometer infrared radiation. A bunch of low clouds over the eastern seaboard and the Gulf. And here is the water vapor map. And here is your recap. By the way, thanks for tuning in to Space Weather Facts. We won't be citing any space weather crap. There's a water vapor to close things out. When your Doppler radar is not measuring up, use the water vapor, and it'll probably hook you up with the information that you need. So once again, thanks for tuning into the Smash News Network, least busted name in news. May that solar wind be at your back. Opinions in this video, not necessarily the opinions of Smash News Network, least busted name in news.